within that, credit do we give Michigan, or how much credit do we give Iowa for being inept? You know what I'm trying to say. Now, one thing defensively that I was so impressed with that last series, you really saw the flash, I believe, of how the potential playmakers of that defensive line, like
Oh
especially
my
at
goodness.
in the bigger games. Mike Morris and Oki. If those two big fellas can bring that type of threat down the stretch of this season, then you may not get the individual Aiden Hudson and the Jabo, but collectively as a unit, you can still have that type of pressure. And also, the one thing that was really impactful and important to see is is Monty Smith and Mason Graham's how well they were doing control the interior of that defensive line. And pretty
Mm-hmm.
much anytime Iowa tried to run up the middle, they weren't going anywhere. So
Correct.
I was also very impressed with that as well. If you can keep a team behind schedule, not allow them to gas runs, and get them in third and clear passing situations, then you give your defense an even better chance to be more efficient with getting off the field. So that was really uh, good to see, especially with myself, and I felt a lot of our subscribers saying the past few weeks the pass rush really hasn't been there. So it was good to see that.
Yeah. And I think they did a terrific job, especially when it came to, so as far as the edge guys, Morris and Oki, which he even got his jersey changed, which that's unique. Like usually that doesn't seem like something that happens a lot, but those guys, especially when it was, it was very clear that Iowa was going to be throwing the ball, because even when Iowa needed that score, I mean, late they had the short field. Granted, it was 44 yards, I think. I mean, they still were running the ball. That was their best pass play, was running the football. But when it was clear they were going to throw the ball, Morris, I mean, in the interesting part is both of those guys did it in back-to-back plays. So Morris had two in a row, then Oki flipped, turned around and had two in a row as well. Those guys, if that continues, if those guys keep rolling like that, and just especially in those obvious passing downs, man, Michigan's defense is going to be in really good shape, because I think in the on the back end they can cover. Like Michigan can cover really well. So to
Mm-hmm.
have both of those things kind of mesh together, of a really good pass rush and you got guys who can cover, it's only going to turn into turnovers and big plays for the defense. So they did a really good job. Especially in those passing downs and when you had to have it. So kudos to Mike Morris and Oki. And like you mentioned, we talked about, someone had mentioned, is Mike Morris too big to play on the outside, and we kind of talked about him, having that versatility to play inside and still get a pass rush, and then you can bring in Oki, etc. And one of his sacks that he got, what for Mike Morris, was when he lined up, inside. So I think him having that flexibility and the diversity, I think will definitely help when it comes to kind of those obvious passing downs. And there's a team down south that likes to throw it, and you're going to need to get pressure on their quarterback down the road.
Yeah, Mason Graham. I'm looking at the chat. It's getting a lot of big time love. Some people calling him a
He played
five
well,
star.
man.
He did. I don't know what his trajectory really is going to be, but he definitely is showing signs, especially as a true freshman. Of really being a big time playmaker for this team. Now and going forward. So, um, and that's what those are the things you really like to see. Is along the line of a season, every game almost. New guys or guys you've heard about showing themselves and showing flashes and showing that they can be not only contributors to the team but playmakers, right?